Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy City Ray back with another video, and today we are going over the Iverson series. This is going to be an offensive scheme video, a little something different. We're going to be covering some more series from the 2K offensive settings. Going to be teaching you guys how to run different series, and we're going to be learning these things together. So it's going to be a tips and gameplay video on how to incorporate the Iverson series into your offense to be more successful and just to be different than how other people play. You can still win in this game and play a different style. So again, we're going to be going over the Iverson series. I'm going to teach you how to set it up, and I'm going to be showing you some gameplay at the end on how it can just help you and make the offense hectic that you're running and confuse the opponent depending on who you're playing in their style. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure you leave a like and sub to the channel. It lets me know to keep making these types of videos. But right away, let's head over to the offensive settings on the next gen menu. I'm going to show you in current gen 2. But right here, under play selection, next to tempo and freelancers to the right, you're going to see the icon that says series. And you want to click that, and there are a ton of different series that we're going to be able to go over just to add a little bit more flair to our offense. And like I said, to be different and have a different style of offense than everybody else runs. Now, a series pretty much is just a different set of actions and plays that are going to branch off of each other based on whatever you select. So Iverson's going to look different than drag. 5 out's going to look different than the 14 series, but they're all going to look the same when you call the series, but they're going to have different actions off of them. It's hard to explain, but when we start going over it, you're going to start to understand exactly what's happening, and we're going to do more of these as we go. Just let me know if you guys like this kind of stuff, and we will continue to do them. I'm actually going to be using the Iverson series for my unlimited run soon, and I'm also going to be using the 4 out 1 in active with it, because I am running Shaq, like I told you guys with the my last video with the Shaq deep dive. But any freelance you want to run, you can select that freelance with it, and you can also have your series selected at the same time. But make sure you guys have your adaptive coaching engine turned off, and we also want to go over to our plays and make sure it's turned on all plays, and our play call messages, I like to put that on all too, just so that people that are newer running plays can see all the lines. You can see what plays are being called and all those types of things. I'm very used to it, but I like for you guys to be able to see everything that's happening on the court when I do these videos, and I think if you're practicing this, you should have that on too. All right, so once we get this tip off, another thing that you guys have to make sure you do, sometimes you don't have to press start and go into the menu if you don't want to. I always like to turn adaptive coaching engine off, but to select your series or your freelance, you can also call timeout when you are on offense. When you head down to sets, you can put your freelance on right here to 4 out 1 in. And then when you head over to your offensive primary focus, you switch that to series, and then you can put it on the Iverson series or whatever series that you select. Now, this is the Iverson series video, but I highly recommend you guys check out other series when you're playing domination, when you're playing challenges, just to have more fun with the game and to learn different styles of movement. This is going to make you better with play calling, and better when you get shut down on offense with something you're used to doing. This is going to open your game up even more. All right, last thing you want to make sure you do to set this up properly on next gen is to hit right on the D-pad, and you're going to hit R2 or L2 until you go over to run series. When you select run series, everything's going to be set up and your team is going to run whatever series you selected. Now let's head over to current gen and show you how to set it up there. So current gen, the menu is a little bit different. As you can see, there is nowhere in the coach settings to select series. We didn't even know it was here because not many people go into the timeout settings to change this stuff. We usually just go straight to the coaching settings and change all that stuff. It's not in proficiency, it's not in any of that stuff. So what you want to do, once again, is call timeout. You're going to head over and change your settings from here. You're going to go change your set to 4 out 1 in. And then you want to make sure you change your series over to series, obviously. Then we're going to be selecting that Iverson series once again. Now, again, this is current gen, next gen we just showed. So how do we switch in game to our primary focus on series? You got to do this because they can run freelance or you can run series. It's a lot, but you got to make sure you do it. So you're going to hit right on the D-pad. You're going to press triangle. You're going to go over to series. Once you do it one time, you're not going to have to do it again. So now let's head back over to next gen and let's run through what the series actually is. And this may look familiar to some of the plays we've gone over before, but This is going to be your entire offensive scheme until you switch out to your freelance or till you call a screen. It's actually pretty cool. So right here, just like the Mavericks playbook or just like cut loop, the Iverson series is based on this action. You're gonna have the horns, which means your center and your power forward right at the elbows extended. You're gonna have somebody on wing on the left side. You're gonna have another wing on the right side, which is Richard Jefferson. Iverson's gonna come across those double screens just like the cut loop play. Now in this play, he cuts to the basket. Richard Jefferson goes to the corner. In other scenarios, Iverson might stay out on the wing, or he might cut back door, or he might go to the corner. It depends on the play that you're calling. And that's exactly why we have our play call messages on, so that you guys can understand what's happening and when it's happening. Now, another thing I want you guys to make sure that you're changing in the series is right here where it says static. You want to change that to dynamic so that it switches each time. You don't want it to be the same every single time. Static, you want to leave if you want it to be the same every time. Dynamic, you're going to change if you want it to switch up each time. And then you don't want it to repeat on success. A repeat on success means if it works, if you score, it's going to run the same thing over and over. I never put that on. I leave it on do not repeat because I want it to change up every single time I come up to court. You can leave it on whatever you want, but I like to put it on do not repeat. All right, so let's show you guys another option which you can do out of this. Now look at the top right. As you can see, it says Fist Iverson. So that's the current play you're running out of this series. So we got the same action, but you can see this time Iverson didn't cut to the basket. He stayed on the wing. We didn't take the shot there. So then Patrick Ewing setting us a screen, diving inside, and we get an open look for three. Now this action is going to be our main action when we run this offense, and this is when it's going to create the switches that we're going to be attacking out of. So as you can see, when we get the ball to Iverson right here, we do have an open look for a shot, but look what happened. Aaron Gordon now has a small on him, and Iverson now has the power forward on him. So that's an opportunity for us to now repost if we need to, and a lot of our offense is going to be based on that. Then we have the screen and roll opportunity. As soon as we call screen, or as soon as the screen is called, we go right into a 4-out 1-in because that's what our freelance is set to. Now we have space for that pick and roll. So you don't need a shooting center, although a shooting center is good. You can have an inside center play this as well. Now I'm not going to show you all different branches against CPU. We're actually going to be showing you some unlimited gameplay right after this. But as you can see, Iverson gets wide open off of those screens once again. And that's the little action that we're going to be wanting our opponent to be running after. So let's jump into some different unlimited games. I have 3 unlimited games here that we're getting ready to go through and just show you how different people try to defend this and why it was successful. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to select our Iverson series, then we're going to call timeout, make sure we selected, you know, all that stuff that we just did against the CPU. We got to make sure we're doing that in our user games too. We got to do this every game. Unfortunately, 2K still does not have a way to set this and make it your base. I wish they had a way to make your base plays and your base settings stay for every single game. But anyway, like I said, when we coming up the court, the first option we're looking at is to see if we can get that open shot from the guy going across those cross screens. Right there, Eddie Jones gets a little bit of daylight. You know that's going to be green. I love his shot. That release is nasty. But then what happens when the defense actually starts to adapt and switch? Sometimes you're going to play people that put their defense on switch all and things like that, and that's where you're going to start to eat. As you can see right here, to save their team from hitting that 3-point shot, Shaq switches over to Eddie Jones, and now we got Dwayne Wade on our Shaq. And you know what we just talked about in our deep dive video, we want the big to have that mismatch, and now we're going to attack that right away. And that's why this offense is so dangerous, because every single time you come up to court, this is a possible chance to happen. Then you have other branches that are going to make that happen as well. As you can see, Paul George broke off of his branch and he went around the screen, causing a switch out that got Shaq with Ray Allen on him inside. So every time you come to the court, you're working off of that main action. Right here, once again, Jokic switches over to Eddie Jones. I have Shaquille O'Neal on the perimeter, so I'm not going to try to drive because they can, they can off ball. So we go screen and roll, and I hit a nice little fadeaway, little lucky shot, slightly early, but it still goes because my opponent couldn't get out to the shot because he had the slower defender. Moving on to game 2 because the opponent quit. Same thing. First time we come to the court, we're going to get the ball, see what we're working with, get the play action moving. We get Dwayne Wade wide open for 3. Didn't green it, but it is still good. Now we have our opponent really watching that, trying to make sure that that doesn't get open. What do? We call a different play. We don't have to use that. I can still call a different play. So now we get Larry Bird wide open for 3. For some reason, we could not green at all, but they were still dropping. Now I called the 5 out to make him think that I was going to drive. He backs up, and I get another 3-point attempt wide open with Dr. J because he thought I was going to be driving. So I'm giving him different looks every single time up the court, even though I still have this freelance or this series set. I can switch what I want to do on the court still. Just want to let you know that you have that ability to switch what you want to do. Once again, we get that play action going, and they switch, and they keep switching, giving us mismatches on top of mismatches. Then you know, on the fast breaks and defensively, when we get stops and we're able to score on the fast break, that just makes our half-court offense even more effective, because if we have a lead, we have even more chance to just play slow basketball. You don't want to always be sped up. You want to speed your opponent up, but if you're up 8 points, 10 points, you can play slow offense, pick your shots, do what you want to keep them frustrated and keep them guessing. And that's how I like to play my game. I like to make sure that I'm going to do what I want to do on offense. You're not going to rush me in my offense. So once again, we're in our different sets. Now we're in the 4-out 1-in against Vlade Divac, and we got Paul George coming up from the screen wide open. So although, like I said, we run in the series, we can still use the 4-out 1-in. We can still use plays. All right, now we're moving on to our third game. In this game, I wanted to set the tone with Shaq because he had Blake Griffin in the game. So I was like, I'm going to try to abuse this matchup right away, let him know that Shaq's going to be able to abuse Blake inside every play, just to get it in his mind that he's going to have to stop Shaq. So even on the fast break, I was using Shaq just to see how he was going to defend it. We get a nice and 1 here, easy buckets. That's Shaq all day. And then we start getting into the series and running that Iverson series, running Eddie Jones off of those screens, trying to get him open for 3, green bean, and now he's going to have to start watching that. So our offense, once again, is dynamic. It's a scheme. It's not going to be the same thing all the time. What does he do? He switches to a zone. Want to know the beautiful thing about this offense? It works against the zone too, because the placement of the players. Look at Larry Bird getting wide open for 3. We have those 2 guys on the elbow, and they do a good job of keeping the zone tight so they can't spread their zone out a lot. So right here, as you can see, when my boy Aaron Gordon goes to the corner, he thinks I'm going to give it to Julius Erving or Aaron Gordon. I have Larry Bird right at the elbow. There's no way he can defend all 3 of them at one time. That's why I like having those guys on the elbow, because it keeps the zone really tight and small. It doesn't let them get wide and play every passing lane. So again, he's in the zone. We're using the 4-out 1-in. We get Aaron Gordon in the short corner for the nice alley-oop, easy. Now he tries to press. We're going to do the same exact thing against the press. We threaten the lane inside. Dr. J pops out off of those screens. They can't close out in time. And it's another green bean. No 5-out needed. And again, up the court, he's in a zone. This time, we hit my boy Paul George in the corner off the little driving dish. All right, we got another game here, and this guy actually switched around way more than the last person I played. But even still, I was still able to get Dwayne Wade open for that first 3-point attempt, even though we missed it. Cleaned it up with a nice layup, and then next time down the court, he actually tries to anticipate what I'm going to do and tries to run out and stop Eddie Jones out there. So we see him, and we hit Karolinko for that easy drop off inside. So again, you're going to get players that are going to be trying to stop you each time. You can just switch up what you're doing. That's the beauty of this. When you're playing and running different stuff, they don't know what you're going to do every single time down the court, opposed to someone that does the same exact thing, which we'll go over as well. Right here, he tries to switch to a zone. We run a little screen and roll out the 4-out 1-in. Dwayne Wade dots the wing. Easy buckets. Come up the court again. Now we're going to confuse him a little bit. We have the same action going, but we're going to pass it in different directions, in different rotations. You don't have to do the same thing. Now when we get it in the Shaq, the 4-out 1-in automatically engages, and we hit Paul George on that backdoor flare. Open 3. Again, he switches to a zone because he really doesn't understand how to stop this with the man-to-man. Throw a little fake pass in there. Larry Bird open for 3. Once again, he tries to read what I'm doing. Look at Baron Davis sprint out. He tries to run after Baron Davis, leaving KG wide open on the pop out. This series has so much going for it to get you open on offense. I highly recommend that you guys try this out. When we're on the fast break, we're obviously going to be just hitting the open man as soon as we can. Now, I want you to see what he was doing on offense. basic 5 out. This is the only way he scored. Now, look what happens when it gets locked up. Look how bad his offense looks when it gets locked up, opposed to the dynamic offense we were just running. He just has 5 people standing there, and we are able to lock it up so easy. You get over the screen, now you don't have any time to shoot. Everybody's standing in one spot. You don't have anything going for you. I know the Curry slide's coming. This is getting blocked. You're not going to be able to score like this every time. You have to be able to adapt your offense. You have to. Otherwise, you're gonna be quitting games just like this dude did, and we're gonna be off to another game. He tried to run zone, and obviously it didn't work. So obviously the zone didn't work for that guy. He got dotted up pretty much the whole time. But then we come up against another opponent that runs a zone. They saw how our plays were working in the first quarter, so they wanted to hop into a zone and see if that was going to work. And once again, it does not work for them. We're able to get nice movement, and we have good placement with our players because of the way this series is set up, and we're getting players open all over the court. Look at the passes out of the 4-out-1 in. Look at the openness in the corner, and then check out this dot from Baron Davis to the opposite corner to Dr. J, wide open once again. There is no off or no defense without some kind of pressure. You're not going to be able to stop this offense. All the switching that's happening, all the movement. We got Larry Bird getting open for 3. If Taco Fall would have got to that shot and I pump faked, then I could have got it to my center because they had the switch. You're going to have a very, very well-balanced defensive team out there to stop this offense, because anytime I get a small guy switching on the Shaq, I'm going to score. And if you don't switch it, I'm going to get an open 3. So your pressure has to be up there, or you have to have a huge lineup, which is going to take away from your offense. So everything that this offense is about is creating mismatches and creating havoc for your opponent. Whether they're in the man, whether they're in a zone, you are going to be able to get a lot of openings out on the court if you understand. You're going to have to practice it. Like, I do this stuff all the time, so it looks a little bit easier than it really is. And you to understand like who to go to, when to make the passes. But the more you play this way, the better you will get at it. I can easily run 5 out. I can easily run 4-out-1 in every single time. But 5 out gets so boring. I like to be able to do this kind of stuff, because if 5 out's not working for me and I can go to this, I'm able to be more dynamic than a lot of people that play this game, which is why I think I win a lot. I guess I'm not the best comp player of all, but I do compete against a lot of the good players in this game because I am able to utilize this stuff when they're only used to what they see all the time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you in the next one. Leave a like if this is something that you would like to see again. If you would like this kind of offensive schemes and tips and things like that, let me know. If you have a specific series or freelance you want to see, let me know. We might be able to go over it. Until next time, I will catch you in the next video. Hopefully it helped you out. Peace.